Mary Lee.
And of course we're not teaching them new names, so we're not teaching them new face name associations. These are things that have been established many years before, generally before the diagnosis of dementia was made, so it's often their first degree relatives or perhaps grandchildren. So they already have learnt the name, but they have trouble retrieving.
And bringing the allegations of unlawful phone hacking to a wider audience. They're very much behind that. And there's, be friends, family, all sorts of people.
Yeah, the King won't be there because he's flown out of the country, hasn't he?
The King won't be there. I'd be very surprised if Meghan was there. We're not expecting Meghan. I don't think she'll be there. I don't think, I don't think any of Harry's family will be there. I'm not sure that he will actually bring a kind of cohort of friends outside of his legal team and maybe, a press spokesperson, perhaps. He's not your average litigant who probably would turn up with family and friends to support them. But
no.
Royal.
Fascinating stuff, guys. Thanks very much indeed as we continue to wait for Prince Harry to arrive at the High Court. We will be seeing him giving evidence from the witness box. It's the first time since the 19th century that a royal has appeared in the witness box, when Edward VII, as Prince of Wales, appeared in two cases, one in a dispute over card cheating and the other in a divorce case in which the Prince denied any improper familiarity. We'll be hearing, as I said, from the Duke of Sussex. Not today, but we may see him today. If you want to see him arriving at court, do stay tuned our way.
So if I were in that situation, I might not be able to tell someone to, but I'd like them to read the paper to me, as long as it's the right paper. And I won't say which.
That's it for this episode of Crowd Sounds from BBC World Service. The question was from me, Nyankami in Kenya. The show was presented by Caroline Steele and produced by Joe Glanville. If you have a question on any science subject and you want answers from the team, why not email crowdscience@bbc.co.uk. Goodbye.
This is the BBC World Service with World Questions from Trinidad and Tobago.
It's the most prosperous country in the Caribbean, but it's facing a surge in crime, including sex trafficking, piracy and murder. 2022 was the deadliest year in its history. In the capital, Port of Spain, we'll be discussing what can be done.
World Questions, Saturday at 11 GMT. at bbcworldservice.com. Music Life.
I'm the cellist and composer, Peter Gregson. Joining me are a group of musicians from across the broad spectrum of cello sound.
The History Hour is next. This is the BBC World Service, the world's radio station.
Hello and welcome to The History Hour with me, Max Pearson. This week's witnesses to history who've appeared on the World Service. And today we're marking 70 years since Hilary and Tenzing conquered Everest, the world's highest mountain.
He said this little voice within him spoke up and it was, "Ed, my boy, this is Everest. Sometimes you've got to be prepared to push it a lot harder."
One of the first things he did was put his hands together and prayed to Chomolungma, the mother goddess, and said Pujiche Chomolungma, which means thank you, mother goddess.
We'll hear of the triumphs and tragedies Everest has witnessed over the past century. George Mallory's disappearance in 1924, a fatal expedition in the 1990s, and Bachendri Pal, the first Indian woman to reach the summit.
Mountaineering gives you opportunity to look into yourself, who you are, what stuff you are made of, what is your limitations, what is your strength.
That's after today's world news.
Hello, I'm Emily Thomas with the BBC News. Russia's defence ministry says it's thwarted several Ukrainian attacks in occupied parts of the Donetsk region and inflicted reverses on mechanised units in a forested area of Luhansk. Kiev hasn't responded directly to the claims. Professor Michael Clark, formerly the director of the Royal United Services Institute, says this could be the start of the long-expected Ukrainian counter-offensive.
Certainly something is going on. I mean, I've been looking at material in the last hour. There's something going on in Soledar, north of Bakhmut. There's something going on in Vuhledar, south of Bakhmut. There may be something going on at Novodorivka in Zaporizhia, and cross-border activity going on at Shebekino near Belgorod, which is not connected directly to what Kiev is doing, but is certainly part of the increased tempo. So I think, something has begun, and I'm not at all surprised. We thought it had to start soon, and we'll see how it develops.
Reports from the Central Asian Republic of Kyrgyzstan say security forces have been carrying out a series of arrests in the capital Bishkek. The government has not commented. Media reports say a coup d'etat was being planned. A woman once branded Australia's worst female serial killer has been pardoned and freed from prison after new evidence suggested she did not kill her 4 children. Kathleen Folbig spent 20 years in prison. Scientists now believe the children may have died of natural causes. Phil Mercer is in Sydney.
The 2 girls, Sarah and Laura, are said to have had a rare genetic mutation that could have caused heart problems and sudden death. One of the boys was reportedly suffering from a neurogenetic disorder linked to epilepsy. So all of this scientific evidence has been brought to bear on this extraordinary case. Safe to say that the trial and the conviction of Kathleen Folbig has become one of the most notorious cases in Australian criminal history. Her supporters believe that she will now pursue a huge compensation case.
Prince Harry is preparing to become the first senior British royal for more than a century to give evidence from the witness box. Hearings are due to begin at the High Court in London in his case against Britain's Mirror Group newspapers. Tom Simons is there.
I think the main event here is going to be the cross-examination of Prince Harry in the witness box, a very rare event in itself. Andrew Green KC is the barrister for Mirror Group newspapers, and his likely type of attack is going to be about the way in which stories were gathered. The allegation from Prince Harry is that unlawful methods were used, private investigators, phone hackers, to get information about him. Andrew Green KC is going to say no, sources were used, people who knew Prince Harry, people in the palace, people in his circle of friends, people perhaps in nightclubs or the military where he was regularly out and about.
World News from the BBC. In a rare victory for Hong Kong's embattled journalists, the top court has cleared a journalist of wrongdoing after she used public information to investigate an attack on pro-democracy demonstrators in 2019. An earlier decision found documentary maker Bao Choi guilty of lying to obtain car ownership records as part of her investigation. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights has condemned the detentions in Hong Kong of people seeking to commemorate the 34th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square killings. It's called for the release of anyone held for exercising freedom of expression and peaceful assembly. Danny Vincent is in Hong Kong.
The police detained 23 people. They released a statement saying that some of those detained were arrested, some of them have been released. The police have said that some are still being investigated. Critics will say this is again another example of how much Hong Kong has changed. The authorities say Hong Kong is a city ruled by law, but many would argue that the national security law, and in fact the entire legal system now, has become so vague that it's difficult to know what charges people will face.
Protests have continued in Senegal against the sentencing of the opposition leader Ousmane Sonko. Demonstrations were reported in the western towns of Darimukti and Rufisque on Sunday. The unrest broke out last week when Mr. Sonko was given 2 years in prison on charges of corrupting a young woman. He says the charges are politically motivated. Iran and Ukraine will be high on the agenda as the board of the UN's nuclear watchdog, which has just begun meeting in Vienna. In its latest report, the IAEA estimates that in the past 3 months, Iran has increased its stockpile of enriched uranium by about a ton. That's
TV handled that investigation into rumours of that affair when it first emerged back in 2019 and 2020. And not only that, Dame Caroline McCall, the ITV CEO, will also have to answer questions from MPs on the 14th of June on safeguarding practices at ITV, as well as how it handles complaints, because there have been many complaints of a toxic workplace culture coming from, for example, one of the show's former resident doctors, Dr. Ranj Singh, who said that he was a whistleblower on that culture who was then managed out. Now, we also heard from Martin Frizzell, one of the show's editors, who said that that was perhaps score settling. So today, Holly Willoughby's appearance, just trying to move past the last 2 weeks, move on and just get on with her job.
Thanks, Milena. Well, we will be coming to the business news very shortly, I promise you. But in the meantime, we're going back now to Sally Lockwood at the High Court. Sally.
Thanks very much, Ian. Bouncing around between breaking news there. But luckily for us, we didn't miss that arrival shot of Prince Harry. Still no sign of the Duke of Sussex. But of course, a very, very big day for Prince Harry as his lawyer begins laying out his case against the Mirror Group newspaper. And of course, we will be hearing from Prince Harry himself, appearing in the witness box from tomorrow. Could be sooner, we don't know, but certainly we'll be hearing from him this week. A big moment for Prince Harry and a very brave moment, many would say. And we're going to bring you all of the events as they unfold in court, live here on the Sky News channel and also on our live blog, which you can follow on the Sky News mobile app. Now, throughout the events today and this week, I'll be joined by our royal correspondent, Laura Bundock, and Jonathan Coe, media lawyer. Great to have you both with us. I cut you off there, Laura, because of that breaking news on ITV. But let's just pick up. You were talking about the historic nature and the significance of this moment for Prince Harry.
Yes, I mean, he will attempt to argue that from a very young age, so the first of his 33 articles is when he was not even a teenager, his mother was still alive, had this huge amount of intrusion into his private, his personal, his family, his professional life. Intrusion that resulted in newspaper articles he is claiming can only have been written with information that was illegally obtained. And these are articles, a lot of them about his relationship with his ex-girlfriend Chelsea Davies, some of them about his time in the army, some of them about Prince William. They span a huge and very important part of his life. We know a lot about Harry, don't we? We've had his memoir, we've had the Oprah interview, we've had the Netflix series, the subsequent interviews he's given, but it has always been on his terms. He will find himself in alien territory when he comes here, takes the witness stand, and will have his whole argument tried to be torn apart by the lawyers for the Mirror Group newspapers. They will be picking apart what he says, they will be denying that they use these illegal activities for him, and they will be trying to take him down a rabbit hole, if you like. He will not want to go off proof. He will have his statement, but they will be goading him to try and say things that will get him to reveal information. And don't forget, forget, some of these stories are about pretty explosive parts of his life. It'll be huge revelations, but as we know, Harry has a much higher purpose here. He wants to, as he puts it, change the media landscape. He says this is his life's work, that he believes not only were they acting inappropriately, they were breaking the law, and he wants some of the senior newspaper executives who knew, he says, what was going on, thrown into jail. Those are his exact words. That is his bigger purpose here.
Yeah, certainly, Jonathan, as Laura was saying there, this is deeply personal for Prince Harry. He's talked in depth before in media interviews about how the British tabloids have impacted his life, the role that he believes they played in his mother's death. He wants his day in court, but of course he will have been offered opportunities to settle before this moment, won't he?
The key thing about this case is it was never going to settle. And one of the reasons why Mr. Justice Fancourt decided to take this amongst a whole plethora of cases, because it was clear to him it wasn't going to settle. And this is the great dread for the Mirror, because the other newspapers have been able to buy off claimants. And on that basis, they've been able to cover up their wrongdoing, partly by spending vast sums of money in compensation, but also spending vast sums of money on lawyers, which is a bit of an irony given the complaints they make about the use of lawyers to protect other people's privacy. But the key thing here is that on behalf, I think, of a lot of other people, Prince Harry is being a bit of a warrior and saying, do you know what? I have been a particular victim of press abuse. I'm going to pick up the baton. I'm going to fight like I fought the Taliban. I'm going to fight them. And it is that serious for Mirror executives, because of course executives from News International ended up in jail. Well, at least Andy Coulson did.
Yeah.
And as far as he's concerned, I imagine that he has Piers Morgan in his crosshairs, who's popping up as a sort of like Banquo's ghost. And he'll be hoping that one way or another, at least there'll be a finding of fact by the judge that Piers Morgan knew what was going on.
Yeah, and certainly for many, after the Leveson inquiry, many felt that there was unfinished business. It's going to be a very interesting week indeed. Laura, Jonathan, back to you shortly. Thanks very much indeed. And we're going to be bringing you live events as they unfold in court. There's no camera in court, but we have a Sky News team in there who'll be bringing us events as they unfold on our Sky News live blog on the mobile app, and we'll be breaking those lines and giving you analysis here on the Sky News channel as well. I'll be back with more on the Prince Harry court case very shortly, but in the meantime you can scan the QR code on your screen right now, which will take you to continuing coverage on that live blog. And there'll also be a special programme each evening at 9 p.m. this week, examining the case and exactly what we've heard in court. Back to Ian King.
Thanks, Sally. Now, the British Chambers of Commerce has announced a new business council to rival the beleaguered CBI. The BCC says it's part of a new national offer to businesses. Among the companies who've signed up are BP, Heathrow, Drax and the hotel operator IHG. Well, joining me now is Siobhan Havanan. She's Director General of the British Chambers of Commerce. Siobhan, welcome to you. I mean, this is all very opportunistic timing, isn't it? The CBI is facing a vote on its future tomorrow.
Morning, Ian. Yes, indeed, the CBI are facing a vote on its future tomorrow, and they've got some key challenges, but we absolutely wish them well. We hope it happens for them. As they have said, they've got a long road ahead to fix things, but, we are not competing with the CBI. We want to see them do well. Business Council that we are launching today is about giving business a voice. We are at a really crucial moment. We're at a pivotal point for our economy. We're probably, a year, 18 months away from a general election. And the time is of the essence. This is about policy development. It's about bringing business together around the table so we can look at some of those key economic challenges and opportunities, of course, and feed them into the election manifestos for next year.
Siobhan, one of the great strengths traditionally of the British Chambers of Commerce is that very regional aspect to it. You have the regional chambers reporting into the sort of national body. Isn't this going to dilute the sort of localness of the BCC?
So our chamber network, Ian, just to say, they don't report into the BCC. They are our members. We are their collective voice. And this actually will do the opposite. All our business council members are members of their local chambers. It is crucial that they are part of that national, local, regional infrastructure, as well as our international strength around the world. So this is an enhancement, this is in addition to their local membership of their chambers. And I mean, they are telling us that strength that we have, hundreds of people around the country helping businesses every day, is why the chambers, the British Chambers of Commerce, is such a great organisation to work with.
You've said that you're not trying to compete with the CBI here, but the timing of this, as I say, looks incredibly opportunistic. The CBI facing this crucial vote tomorrow. I mean, you surely are. It looks like you're trying to take some of their members almost.
This work has been long in development. As you know, I've been in this job a couple of years now, and the last 5-6 years we've seen Brexit, COVID, rampant inflation, energy price issues, trouble getting people. Business has been facing a lot of problems. And at the end of last year, we started the development of our new campaign, Where Business Belongs. We launched that at our global conference 3 weeks ago. We had Jeremy Hunt, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, we had the Governor of the Bank of England, we had Keir Starmer there talking about it, and this is the next step in that campaign. We launched our economic advisory panel last week, and next week we will be doing a report for the Climate Change Committee. So it's all part of business as usual for us.
How much will you be charging those companies that sign up to this business council? Will it be less than the CBI was charging for membership?
Well, I don't know what the CBI charges for membership. I don't believe they publish that. And, those are commercially sensitive conversations. But the point here is it's about ensuring that business have a choice and they have a voice. And business needs to be represented now. Their voice needs to be heard by government. We need to look at the economic challenges. Digital revolution, green innovation, people and work, our place in the world, and our local high streets. And that's what the Business Council is all about.
Siobhan, you just said you wish the CBI well. I mean, it's perfectly possible that if this vote goes against them tomorrow, they may have to wind themselves up. But if they don't, you're going to have to work with them in future, as part of the so-called Big Five trade and business bodies.
Yes, absolutely. We've worked with the CBI for the last 2 years, almost weekly basis as the B5 in with government. And we are hoping that the CBI get themselves back on the road, and we look forward to working with them again in the future.
All right, Siobhan, got to leave it there. Appreciate you joining me today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our senior trade ministers from across the Commonwealth are meeting in London today. Top of the agenda, digital trade and how to improve international access for businesses in 54 countries to new global markets. Well, the main focus is on how to ditch paper documents for digital data flows, which could reportedly help boost trade revenue by billions of pounds. Well, joining me now is Chris Southworth. He's Secretary General of the International Chambers of Commerce UK. Chris, welcome to you. It is the case right now that all international trade documents have to be in physical paper form, isn't it?
All the commercial trade documents currently, with the exception of 7 countries, have to be on paper, and that's part of the problem, of course, when we're trying to modernise the trading system. This is ultimately all about making sure that the trading system is fit for purpose for the 21st century, and of course that means going digital. We're just inheriting a system that was set up 100 years ago, that of course revolves around paper. The laws we use actually go back to 1882, to give you an idea. So of course we need to reform laws, remove all the legal barriers and enable the whole system to go paperless.
Although there are some countries, that I think France, Germany and indeed here in the UK, we are moving towards a paperless trade.
Yeah, there's been tremendous progress over the last 3 years. It's quite extraordinary really. The UK actually started the process, so the British government with the G7 ministerial commitment to remove legal barriers. So this year we'll see France, Germany, Japan, US and UK all remove legal barriers by the end of the year.
So what's going to be the obstacles towards rolling this out across the Commonwealth?
Well, the biggest obstacle is capacity in a network like the Commonwealth, and that's pretty much the same worldwide. Every country is starting in a slightly different point. Some are more advanced with infrastructure in place, others less so. And quite often there's not enough legal capacity. So this is about all of us working together now, the private sector and governments, to make this happen, because we have the resources to do it. We just need to work together. We know what the problems are.
How much do you reckon this is costing businesses around the world, this insistence on physical paper?
Oh, it's enormous, absolutely enormous. I think if you look at it in reverse in terms of the benefits, that gives you a good idea. Across the Commonwealth alone, it's 1.1 trillion we're talking about in terms of trade growth. In the UK, it's 224 billion in efficiency savings and 25 billion in
sterling or
trade growth.
dollars?
In the Commonwealth, dollars.
Yeah.
Across the G7, that's 7 trillion. Sorry, it's huge. And that's the inefficiency in the system. Everyone always asks me why the number's so big. Well, it's because we're working on a very antiquated set of processes, and it's just about leaping into the 21st century and using technology in a smarter way.
And I gather on a lot of transactions there can be as many as 40 physical pieces of paper flying around at any
Oh, it's unbelievable. I don't think people outside trade realise how antiquated it is. It's extraordinary. I mean, it can take up to 2 to 3 months to transact. You could be dealing with 40 different paper documents, and those are dealt with manually in the main. It's all manual check across multiple parties. It's just incredibly inefficient, and it's totally unnecessary. That's the interesting part. You know, once you use modern technology and modern systems, which already exist, by the way, none of that's necessary, because we don't need to talk about documents. It should be about data.
Yeah.
And of course, then you can actually remove a whole swathe of the process by just using data more efficiently between business and government.
So how optimistic are you that you're going to get an agreement this week?
I'm very optimistic. The Bangladesh government is our lead. I'm the co-lead with them from the business side, and they're making the proposal to trade ministers today at midday. So we're confident that, there's no dispute about digitalisation across trade ministers. It's just about being very, very clear what is the specific task to take us to the next step forward, and importantly unlock business so that we can all play our full part in the process.
All right, Chris. Well, best of luck with that. Good to see you this morning.
Thank you very much.
Some other business news stories for you now. New car registrations in the UK rose last month for the 10th consecutive month. It's the longest uninterrupted period of growth for the industry since 2015. The Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders said there were 145,204 new car registrations in May. That was up 16.7% on May last year, but was still down 21% on the same month in 2019, prior to the pandemic. Well, the growth was driven by large fleet registrations, with registrations to private buyers actually falling by 0.5%. The best-selling car during the month was the Ford Puma, followed by the Nissan Qashqai and the Vauxhall Mokka. The global drinks giant Diageo said this morning that Deborah Crew, its incoming chief executive, has taken the role on an interim basis with immediate effect. Well, it comes after it emerged that the current chief executive, Sir Ivan Menezes, suffered a setback following emergency surgery for a stomach ulcer. Sir Ivan was due to retire from Diageo, whose brands include Johnnie Walker Scotch Whisky, Gordon's Gin, Smirnoff Vodka and Guinness, at the end of the month. Diageo said, "Our thoughts are with our much-loved colleague Ivan and his family," and we obviously send our best to him as well, regular guest on this programme. The Australian arm of the business services giant PwC this morning named dozens of current and former staff involved in the leak of confidential government tax plans. They're said to include 9 partners who were stood down and 63 staff and partners who received emails containing information on charges to multinational tax avoidance laws. That confidential information was subsequently used by the firm to win new business. Well, the scandal has rocked PwC, whose conduct has been referred by the country's government to the Australian Federal Police. Well, the oil price is trading higher after Saudi Arabia announced a voluntary production cut of 1 million barrels per day. That's from next month. A barrel of Brent crude currently will cost you $77.85 a barrel. That's up 2.25% on the session. On the equity markets, following Wall Street's strong showing on Friday evening, stocks in the Asia Pacific region had a solid session overnight. The Nikkei in the top left-hand corner there, as you can see, up 2.25%. That's another 33-year high. Well, in Europe, stocks have been mixed this morning so far. As you can see, the CAC 40 in France and the MIB in Milan in negative territory. The DAX in Germany and the IBEX in Madrid in positive territory right now. It's all pretty flattish looking at that, though, to be honest. Talking points today include Viaplay, the Swedish streaming company. Its shares are off 58% in Stockholm following a profits warning that has led to the departure of its chief executive. Well, here in London, as you can see, the FTSE 100 is currently some 40 points to the good, nearly up 0.5%. The oil heavyweights, you will not be surprised to learn, are lending support there. The leading blue chip gainer in percentage terms, though, is the fund manager Aberdeen, and that's after it announced a share buyback programme worth up to £150 million. A lot of things going on outside the FTSE. ASOS, the online fashion retailer, the share's up 10.5%. That's after the Sunday Times reported it received a takeover approach from the Turkish company Trendyol in December. Elsewhere, the pharma company Indivior is ahead by some 9.5% after it settled a US lawsuit. You might recall we had the CEO of that particular company on the programme fairly recently. Meanwhile, Dr. Martens, the shares there, investors putting the boot in. The shares off another 2.75% following Friday's disappointing trading update. On the foreign exchange markets, it's all about the US dollar, really on the front foot following Friday's stronger than expected US jobs data. The pound is off nearly 0.5% lower against the dollar. The euro is off by just under 1/6% against the greenback. Meanwhile, the pound also down by 1/3 of 1% roughly against the single currency. Well, joining me this morning is Will Hobbs. He's Chief Investment Officer for UK Wealth Management at Barclays. Will, good to see you this morning. We've got to start with the oil price, I guess. Are you surprised there hasn't been more of a reaction? Because this is a big chunk out of Saudi production.
Yeah, morning, Ian. It's big, but it's temporary. I think that's one thing to bear in mind. And I think that, one of the things about the oil price so far this year, and this goes for sort of, investments more broadly, the China reopening story has been the elephant, the whale in the bathtub, I guess. And so far what we've seen is that has been focused primarily, the reopening story and all the kind of good news has been focused on consumer services. And that's obviously, it's been much less investment heavy. And therefore that has been, it's demanded less in the way of oil and other commodities. So commodity prices have been a bit weaker over the course of the year. And that is probably, not really going to change that much in the short term, certainly. But yes, interesting.
It is. I mean, the other interesting things that have come out of this, society's acting unilaterally. We're told that some African countries may be forced to cut production at some point. But the big question, that the sort of geopolitical question around this is whether Russia is forced to follow suit at some point.
Well, yes. And again, this is, just part of an incredibly complex commodity story at the moment, as we know. And better than anyone, Ian, that, oil, in a sense, it's produced by a cartel. You want to be careful about discerning the motivations of that cartel. It can surprise on a regular basis. The broader picture, though, is really interesting, I think, for the global economy at the moment, because obviously you've got this, the incoming price to be paid for last year's interest rate shock. That's still to be determined. And the US data last week is still showing that the US economy is still straining at its leash a little bit. And then you've got this kind of growing excitement on the medium term with regards to a potential return of productivity growth in the form, driven by the advances in generative AI. So commodities, stocks, bonds, it's a really complicated moment for investors to try and sort of work their way through, even though we've got beyond the debt ceiling and some of the other issues that were kind of looming large.
Yeah, you raise a very good point there, Will. The Friday jobs numbers were really very strong. People will be amazed given the velocity at which the Fed has raised interest rates over the last 12 months.
Yeah, we're reminded again, Ian, that labour market data are lagging. It's generally the last shoe to drop. But yes, you are right. There is still considerable momentum in certain parts of the US economy. There has been a great deal of resilience so far to that interest rate shock, and a real 2-year interest rates rising by as much as they would in decades in the space of years. In the space of months. But so far, like you say, like Friday's data is still telling us. We'll see a bit more today of the leading indicators side. We've got the ISM surveys, business survey data coming out, which will give us a bit more of a look about what's coming down the pike. But certainly, the sense is that US policymakers have still got more to do to slow the US and global economy and bring inflation back to heel.
All right, Will, got to leave it there. Good to talk to you as ever. Thank you.
Still to come on Ian King Live, I'm at the High Court where Prince Harry is due to take centre stage in his fight against the tabloid press.
Jerusalem is just like any other city you've been to. If that city is 3,000 years old and sacred to 3 major religions, where an imam, a rabbi and a priest sitting in a coffee shop
friend Uruj from Sendwave. Sendwave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With Sendwave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, Sendwave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use Sendwave? Sendwave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about Sendwave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Tune in to On Point here on Star Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that the start of the darkness. The of darkness.
So what did that?
Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Star Radio.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Hey there, this is Archie, and it's Starr Radio UK and the morning show.
This is Starr Radio. This is
UK.
Starr Radio
UK.
This is Starr Radio
UK.
Welcome.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat. You make a doubt they fade. Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world.
Okay, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We want to salute each and every one of you, and we want to welcome you to the Monday edition of the morning show. Today is Monday, the 5th day of June, the year 2023. We're at the time now 10:41 from the House of London. So wherever you are, welcome to the program. It is the Monday edition, as I did say earlier on. But I'm saying good morning to my team this morning, Mr. Olayomi HRH Linda Pallien, and my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy. And let me take opportunity to say good morning to Shamsuddin Oladipupo. Hope you are doing very, very well. Say God bless you all.
That's why forever call you great.
To my own Bishop Adesina, wherever you are, Bishop, good morning to you, and to the wonderful colleagues of yours in the office. We salute each and every one of you. Pastor Mo, good morning. Olakunle, good morning. Anthony Adereji, good morning. Aziz, good morning to you. Maiwa, good morning. S.M. Maxwell.
Love for you runs.
I'm saying good morning to Felix all the way in Aberdeen. Those of you here in the south, Koja D and Kofi Ali Abdul Yakin, Dr. Morton, Mr. Kid Yosin, and all you wonderful people. I salute each and every one of you, and I say welcome to the Monday edition of the morning show. Well, I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
This is the morning
But if it is your first time of tuning in to listen to us or watch us wherever you might be on planet Earth, watching us on the Starr Radio UK or listening to us on the Starr Radio UK morning show, this is what it's going to be for you today. I'm going to bring you the quote for the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update as well. We'll move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, known as Global Trotting. This will continue from dance until exactly at 11 o'clock, when we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki, who's going to be bringing you updates from Nigeria. A few stories lined up for you there as well. Then we continue to look at some of the stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. At 12 o'clock, the lines will be open for you to add your voice to the discussion. But before then, if you have any messages that you want to put across, feel free to do so. You can post it on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel there as well. But then we'll continue from there as well, going on at 12:30, taking you to Cyprus, where HRH Linda Pallien is, and she's going to be bringing you Career 101. So in Nigeria, that's what's going to be happening today. So wherever you are, don't touch the dial. Keep your dial so logged on Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Get yourself a hot or cold drink, whichever is appropriate, and let's take this journey. Okie dokie dokie do.
Love for you runs deep.
So let's start it from the quote. The quote for the day says, struggle comes before any success is achieved. The struggle comes before any success is achieved. So you find yourself that this morning to get out of bed at times is tedious, but hey, you gotta wake up, you gotta do something. Yes. So that pain will yield some results for you. What about that? Okay, let's move on straight to the weather front. How has the weather been for you? For those of us in London and southeast of England, we saw a very nice weather over the weekend. Blankets, sunshine. Some say there was a bit of cloudiness, but it was all good, wasn't it? Now this morning it seems a bit cloudy, but let me tell you what is happening actually here in London and the southeast of England. You can share with me what is happening in your area. Now this afternoon, most cloud will clear to the east, leaving large amounts of sunshine for many. However, a few patches of light cloud could persist in places until evening, dry and warm. Now clear skies at first on tonight, but low cloud gradually spreading westward overnight, becoming quite extensive by dawn. Now some parts may see the cloud thicken enough to give some drizzle there as well. At the same time, it's going to be 20 degrees and the lower is going to be 11 degrees. Pollen level high, UV level high, pollution low, sunset 21:12, and sunrise for tomorrow morning 04 for the 6 hours. And that brings us to the end of the weather forecast. So let's take a quick break and I'll bring you the travel updates. Stay tuned and don't touch the dial.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads, and keep you navigated. I promise I'm on the Starr Radio travel update that comes to where every weekday from 10:40. Okay, so on your travel this morning, those of you in London or the UK, this is how it's going to be panning out for you. So far, this is what is happening. Now, if you're using the underground this morning, I can tell you assuredly good service throughout London. London Overground good service, DLR good service, but the London tram link has got minor delays between Elmes and Wimbledon due to a shortage of trams. Good service on the rest of the line though. Now moving on straight to the major roads in London. Now good service, no exceptional delays there, but North Circular A406 has got serious delays. If you can avoid it, do your best to avoid that. Bowles Road, both directions between Green Lane and Wilmer Way are reduced to one lane in both directions due to a best water main. So if you can avoid that, do so. Now moving on straight to the Riverbank this morning, I can tell you assuredly good service there. The London Cable Car has also got good service there. But keep your eyes on the roads, also keep it navigated. I promise I'm on the Starr Radio travel update that comes your way every weekday from 10:40, and it's now 10:47 to the final segment of the travel updates, that is the National Rail. So on the National Rail this morning, Cross Country has got minor delays. East Midlands Railway minor delays. First Trans-Pennine Express minor delays. Grand Central minor delays. Great Western Railway severe delays. London North Eastern Railway minor delays. Lumo minor delays. Northern Rail, Southern and Thameslink all have got minor delays. That aside, all the others good service there. And that is where I bring the update to a close. And as I would say all the times I do say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour show is your best source into the property industry.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Bringing the time now to exactly 11 minutes to the top of the hour. Yo, you know what? Let's go on a global trotting, as I will say all the time. Yes, but do me a massive favor wherever you might be this morning. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. Let me say good morning to Mr. Dantebury, CEO of GL Accountancy Services, our money man. Last Friday, he gave it a smasher of a program. I hope that you listened to it and you're going to be enjoying that as we continue to do the program. So wherever you are, stay tuned. Don't turn the dial. As I do say, get yourself a hot or cold drink, whichever is appropriate. And let's take this journey. If you're standing, hold on to something. But if you're sitting, buckle up. But hey, chill out, because you are rest assured. With Archie in the hub, I promise you one thing for sure, that everything's gonna be alright.
Archie on Starr Radio. Nobody does it better.
Okay, now let's go on. Okay. Thank you, my producer. Yes, it's monitoring to make sure that I'm doing everything good. And it says thumbs up. So it means that everything is good, right? Now let's crack on. What's happening across the globe? Starting from Niger, where we're going to be bringing you details of it in the next few moments. But hey, this is what is being said there. Now, Professor Banji Akintoye's letter to President Bola Tinubu. Now, we know that Professor Banji Akintoye wrote a letter on behalf of the Yoruba Nation to the then President Buhari, but we didn't hear any outcome of that. But another letter has been penned to the new President Bola Tinubu. What is going to be of it? I'll be telling you more about that as I have Ms. Olayomi Koiki joining in at 11 o'clock. And then the NLC shuns federal government's meeting, electricity workers back strike. That's the subsidy due to the fuel subsidy that the government says they have taken away. Okay. Now, PDP wants Tinubu to make asset declaration public. Well, he can say that this is what I have. Everything else that they have, they put it in the names of some their families and cronies and stuff like that. But well, what do you think? Now, suspected Curtis stabbed colleague to death over debt in Delta, and the one killed, 8 injured in Lagos Ibadan expressway crash once again, and the 4 persons escaped death in Ilorin auto crash. So lots of crashes. The 10 people are killed as bandits raid villages in Sokoto. Now, I've not heard any of these attacks in Sokoto, so this seems to be quite there. Okay, and can leaders supporting Tinubu's presidency because he is not a radical Muslim cleric. Or the Christian Association of Nigeria, they think that he's not a radical cleric. But this is a case where we have the vice, who seem to be, because in the past, we've seen pictures of him or videos of him where he was interacting with some of these terrorists. Maybe that is something there. But do you think that he being an old guy, working with this young guy who's going to be, who is the vice president, do you think, and especially when we know that the APC or virtually is being controlled by the Northern Caucus, do you think we're going to see anything different from there? You want more, you're going to get more. But wherever you are, don't you go away. Continue to stay with us, because once we have Ms. Olayomi Koiki, we'll be bringing you more from there. All right then, so moving on straight to some other stories making the rounds this morning, especially just bear with me. Yes, especially from the parts of the world on the African continent. Now, Cameroon returns to the streets of Dakar after 72 hours of violence. Now, clashes erupted on Thursday after sentencing of opposition leader Ousmane Sonko to 2 years in jail. Now, so what is the president going to do about that? Is he going to, give a presidential pardon and maybe say that you will not be able to run for the elections? or what is going to happen there. And then voters await results in Guinea-Bissau elections. And Antigua and Barbuda Rastafari granted authorization to grow hemp. What hemp do you think they are going to be growing? You got it. Okay, now in Morocco, hundreds in Casablanca protest high cost of living. I bet you across the globe, everybody seems to be protesting the high cost of living. But what do you think about it there? Uganda says 54 of its AU soldiers killed in May 26. And that is a bad one. Now, South Africa, power cut suspended until further notice. Well, have they got the means to actually support that? Because if you don't have the supplies, okay, and then you say, okay, we suspend it. Is it your machinery? Is it the fuel that, or the gas that was being used to fuel the plants or the generators that is caused that, or that is what was causing whatever was going on? What do you think about that? It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Now moving on straight to Ghana. Encourage acquisition mergers of banks and NBFIs if needed. IMF tells government. Now remember that government, the Bank of Ghana, the Bank of Ghana decided with a coalition with government to shut some banks down, and a few of them, and people have lost their jobs and all sorts that has happened there. However, the Bank of the IMF is telling government that, we are encouraging you, those banks that are not performing well, you can merge them, and NBFIs. Merge them, and maybe that will make them stronger. So maybe the stronger ones will swallow the weaker ones. But when that happens, you know for sure what happens next. That is, some people will be laid off. But what do you think about all that? It's all happening in Ghana as well. It's all Starr Radio UK. No collusion to insert illegal names in ASIN not voters register. That's what the EC is saying. Well, it's going to be interesting there. Come the 27th. Is it 27 or 29? I think it's 27th. Yeah, 27. That election is going to be taken there. Another by-election, because the MPP seem to be saying that, you know what? This will be a reflection of what is going to happen in 2024 general election. But what do you think about all that? Lots more going to become your way. Harina launches operation over 1.5 million votes for Mahama in Ashanti. Well, let's see. And then events of June 4 must spare leaders to work for brighter future. Well, have our leaders failed us? What have they been actually doing at all? Okay. It is Starr Radio UK. Lots more going to be coming your way from there. But now, let's move on to other parts of the world as well. And let's see what's happening there. Okay? So, in other parts of the world, Russia says it thwarted major Ukrainian offensive. Now, Kyiv hasn't responded to the claim. The latest sign an expected Ukrainian counteroffensive may have begun. Well, they said it thwarted the effort and might have killed about 250 Ukrainian soldiers. The moms and babies heading home to the front line. Thousands of Ukrainians are moving back to towns close to the front line despite the dangers. People want to be in their own shacks, and then make sure that they are living their lives, whatever it is. They say that this is my home, this is where I belong to, but there's the risk pertaining to the war being on the front line. What do you think about that? Indian Railways seek police probe into deadly crash. The railway minister announced the decision but did not give more details. What's going to happen? I pray that we find him. Desperate hunt for a missing person for the missing. Relatives of victims of the Indian train crash tells of their struggle to locate loved ones. A very sad one. A woman has been pardoned after 20 years in jail for baby deaths. Now, a recent inquiry had fresh evidence that Kathleen Folbig did not kill her 4 children. My goodness. And Hong Kong detained on Hong Kongers detained on Tiananmen anniversary. More going to be coming your way from there. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. A huge anti-government protest in Polish capital Warsaw. War with US will be unbearable disaster. That is what the Chinese minister is saying there shouldn't be any war. We don't want no war. No war. A mom demands apology for killer son and his victim. 10 days after leaving a psychiatric unit, David Fleet stabbed a man who was walking his dog. And then, moving on to some other stories. Prince Harry hacking case against Mirror back in court, and he's going to be giving evidence, and it's going to be the for the first royal, a senior royal, who has appeared in court, or is appearing in court for I think about 136 years ago. So there's a lot more going to be coming your way. Wherever you are, don't you go away. Star Radio UK 10:59. And as we wait for Mr. Olayomi Koike to join in, let's enjoy this tune, and we will continue with it. Yes, it is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. The Monday edition of the morning show. Everlasting to everlasting from Pastor Theodora Boache Ansah. Enjoy. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to exactly 3 minutes past the top of the hour. And I was Pastor Theodora Boache Ansah say, everlasting to everlasting. The kingdom of God never comes to an end. But well, Starr Radio UK is here to bring you everything that you need to know pertaining to where you are. So wherever you are listening to us from, you want to share with us what is happening, feel free to do so, because we are here to also, somebody say, propagate. What about that? What is going on? But I can tell you assuredly, I've got with me the White Lion himself, who is also here to propagate what is happening from Niger. So wherever you are, get yourself ready for updates from Nigeria. But let me say good morning to you, Mr. Olayomi Koike.
Well, a very good morning to you back in the studio, Mr. Archie. Good morning, Frank. Good morning to Mr. Dante, the money man, because we need a lot of money in Africa, and we need to find out that money, will be able to be available for as many of Africans and mostly Nigerians as well. A very good morning to all our listeners and those that have joined us on the sister broadcast where we are transmitting. Good afternoon for those that are watching us in other part of the globe, because like I always say, the world is a very beautiful one. Wherever you are, make sure you tune in to Starr Radio UK. It is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, and I'll come back again to you in the studio after a very beautiful long week. And like I said, it seems the house is a little more quiet since the children have returned back to school. After the week with us.
That's a good one. We know the kids, they love being at home, and we have to be with them. And then when they leave, then everything becomes quiet. We do miss them though, don't we? Yes, we do. Yeah, so how was your weekend, sir?
Well, I had a very great weekend, especially after the beautiful birthday celebration, and it seems that the weekend was a little bit packed, visitors, and likewise, more time with the family, and likewise monitoring what is happening, on the other side of the globe as well. But I think I had more sleep, than I was expecting, even though, the house was a little bit much busier than it used to be. But now that everybody seems to have, gone back to their different bases, the visitors that came in, and it's always good, when, you spend that quality time, because we're living in a world today where an average parent is not spending time anymore, with their families, whether back home or even those in the rural area are leaving those communities trying to find, something in the city. So my weekend was very good. I don't know about yours, but I had a very great weekend.
Yeah, I had a good one as well. I'm busy, but it was okay. Busy. You have a few activities here and there that you need to see to, but it was all good. It was all good. And our listeners, we hope they are listening to us, and Nigeria didn't happen to you. So keep your dial logged on Starr Radio UK. Okay, now let's go to some of the stories that made the rounds over the weekend, or what is happening in Nigeria today. Now, remember that during Buhari's tenure, the latter part, so let me call it sometime last year, Professor Banji Akintoye penned a letter to him pertaining to the stance of the Yoruba people or the Yoruba nation. Okay, now they never responded to it. Now, during few maybe interviews or statements, they would dish in something saying that they will not allow that or that. So a few things there. But now he thinks that maybe another one to be penned, and this around to President Tinubu. And so maybe Tinubu might be somebody who, because he hails from that part of the country, might be someone who might hearken to it because his own people. What about that?
Well, if you want to put it in that format, one thing, we've got to understand is, if you're asking for something, just as we do here in UK, you have to engage, the government. Engagement of a government is not a crime, and this is something that, a lot of people do not understand. You need to continue to have an engagement. You did talk about, the engagement that we wanted to have, with the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, is currently back in his base in Daura. I'm sure he's monitoring and following, as many of the activities happening in Nigeria today. But one thing is, you're quite right. Finally, after, Tinubu has been sworn in on the 29th, Professor Akintoye Banji did not waste as much time, all he has done now. The following day, the 30th of May, a letter has now been sent under the Yoruba self-determination movement to the president-elect Bola Tinubu. You did talk about Tinubu being a Yoruba man. Yes, he's a Yoruba man, but we already been told by Tinubu that, he wants the unity of one Nigeria. I think, Professor, from the letter that we have been analyzing, since that letter came to the wire through, his press secretary from Benin Republic, Professor was very, very clear. He didn't go into the details from the letter you talked about to Buhari, because the letter to Buhari was more details, taking us back to history. This particular one is just a 7-page, and I'm just going to go straight to, what we can call, in conclusion. So in conclusion literally means that, it gives us a proper overview. This letter can be found later on the Starr Radio UK, network as well, and is also on the sister broadcast as well. In conclusion to this statement, we Yoruba applaud the noble assurance which our brother, the new president of Nigeria, uttered in his inaugural address. We refer to the following statement in his address: our administration shall govern on your behalf, but never rule over you. We shall consult and dialogue, but never dictate. These are what Tinubu said during his inaugural speech. We shall reach out to all, but never be put down a single person for holding their views contrary to our own, which says that, if Tinubu is going to go through that part, it will be different from Buhari, because Buhari was a government that was not listening at all. He refused to listen to the Biafra. He listened to the Ijaw people. He refused to listen to even those that have been, incapacitated in Nigeria, especially that are different from his view. And it seems that Buhari is pained about certain things that he eventually put the dot circle that allowed Twitter to remove him. And he also said, if Twitter is going to remove me as the president, I will make sure that Twitter suffered that. And Twitter suffered that for 6 months. We is kinsmen. You also talked about, Yoruba man. Yes, Professor Banji Akintoye stated there that Tinubu is our kinsman, but we hope that with everything he has said, the most important thing, going back to a little bit of these, Buhari was supported by Tinubu for 8 years. President Tinubu has also had the opportunity to become the president, and exactly 8 years ago, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, energetic, sincere, and dedicated assistant to another Nigerian president, is also allowed to be a president. But Professor said it clearly that Nigerians stand at this moment in a devastating pains of an unresolved nationality. The reason why the Yorubas are asking for their right, and the Biafra and the Middle Belt, is because of what we call the nationality. The nationality aspect of that is not clear anymore. Who are Nigerians, who are Yorubas, and who are these 250 ethnic groups? He went on to say, before coming back to you, as highly perspective leader of another African country remarked recently, the nation of Nigeria hate one another. Take note of that word, hate. Hate is something that the British government around the world tried to make sure that we can live side by side, even if our views, even if our ethnics are different. But it seems that the hatred in Nigeria has steadily escalated since independence, and yet the political leaders of Nigeria strangely choose to keep Nigeria as one country. That is the letter that has now been sent to the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying that we, the Yorubas, we will negotiate with you, since what we are asking for is a non-violent movement, and that literally means that it does not matter whether Tinubu is a Yoruba man, is a government, and a government would always want to have a view. The view might be different, but Tinubu says every view will matter, even if it might not likely want to go with it. So we don't know what is going to happen. We will have to wait for more days and weeks until Tinubu will respond. But President Muhammadu Buhari refused to respond to the letter that was sent to him in August last year. Starr Radio UK, it is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, and I'll come back again to you in the studio.
Well, listeners, have this from Nigeria. But if we take it that Tinubu, who hails from that area, with a statement, his inaugural statement that he made, where he's talking about the fact that he thinks that there is a need for everybody to be treated fairly and everything of the sort. So let me put it this way. Now, being one advocate for the Yoruba nation. Now, do you think that if Tinubu now puts things in place so that everybody is not marginalized, especially his own kinsmen are not marginalized but are treated fairly, do you think with a letter that Professor had penned, do you think that there will be any need for the Yoruba or the South? Yes, and all the various groups to say that we are still leaving. Do you think there will be the need for that?
Well, it depends on what people have been saying. As many Nigerians believe that Nigeria needs to just be restructured so that we can have a full autonomy of the current political dispensation that has been going on since 1959. I was studying an article that was written last year by a journalist in Nigeria, and he said it seems that it's the same rhetoric. We're going to provide as many services. These were part of the campaign trail of Bafemi Awolowo, Azikiwe, and Tafawa Balewa, Ahmed Bello, during the 1959 as Nigeria was going in through the independent, and 63 years after, we are still asking for the same thing. Even though you're right, Tinubu, understand the regional government that he must have enjoyed, during that period, because during the regional government, everyone had access to control their resources, and that gave the free education. And as at the time, the part of Yoruba land, what we can call Nigeria, was almost at the same par with Singapore. When you look at Singapore today, Singapore was a third world country in the 60s, but you cannot call Singapore another third world country. So what does literally mean that you're asking if Tinubu could a little bit reverse things, and maybe that will suppress the agitation or those that are asking for the right to self-determination. The question that people have been asking is that going to happen after 8 years? Then what happened next? Tinubu is going to be there for only 8 years. He will be completing his tenure, God's willing, in 2031, and then the power reverse again. So even if Tinubu does as much, how much more will make an indigenous person wants to be called a Nigerian or a proper name called the Yoruba people or the Biafra or the Ijaw people, and likewise the remaining 250 ethnic groups? But time will tell. But the first step in every situation is keep that conversation going, keep that communication line open, because we don't want to end up being like Sudan, where communication right now has broken and has led to so many lives that have died. There is still not communication between Russia and Ukraine, and that is why there's a situation there as we speak. If you follow what is happening, the Serbia-Kosovo is about to break up as well. So communication must continue to be engaged and open, even in the midst of disagreement between the two sides, and that is exactly what Professor have said, that this is a non-violent movement, and we will continue to engage with any government. And since Buhari is no longer in power, that means Bola Tinubu will be the one that we have to engage with until we continue with the actualization of the Yoruba people coming out of Nigeria peacefully.
Yes, it's quite interesting, because I was looking at, whilst you were speaking, I was just trying to analyze and remember when the Yoruba movement seemed to have started. I'm looking at 4 to 5 years. About 6 years, because it was when the insecurity issues started going up and farms were being rampaged and people's life were being taken, that Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho came on to say that no, that shouldn't happen, and therefore if the government is not going to do anything about it, then there's a need for us to break away and then we can take care of our people. So he was looking at the interests of his people in general. So I'm looking at it, that is a Christian Association of Nigeria, saying that, you know what, Tinubu is not a radical Muslim, but we know that the APC seem to be controlled some way somehow by the Northern Caucus. So I don't know how they're all going to be piling up. So that means is Tinubu just going to be a stooge that have been put in place and then going to be doing the bidding of them, though he's not a radical person? What are we going to be seeing? But do you think that what Khan is saying there, that they think that he's not a radical Muslim, and this unrest and everything, marginalization that people now woke up to happened only about call it 6 years? And now there is a need, or things will work out nicely if Tinubu puts his foot on the ground, and that should calm everything down. What do you think?
Well, you're quite right. I think the reason why that is being said, and that is right there, Bola Tinubu, the president, and the current president as well. Remember that during the election campaign, there was a lot of pressure, that why is, Tinubu going with the, Muslim ticket? This is, it has happened before, but it seems that, as many Nigerians were not very comfortable with it. So our president is a liberal Muslim. We know that the wife is a Christian, and Tinubu says, you can practice whatever you believe in. Even if you don't believe in a Muslim or Christian, you believe in your tradition, which we have a lot of them, not just in Yoruba side, we have them in, other parts, of the country as well. But what actually, could make, some of the leaders of the Christian Association of Nigeria that have rooted for and ensure the victory of Bola Tinubu on the 25th, during the election, because he's not a radical Muslim who will marginalize Christian in the country. There is evidence based out there, even America said it. It seemed Buhari was a little bit much more, in favor of, the Muslims as against the Christians. And we saw that because the killings, in the Christian part, especially the southern Kaduna, we've seen so much killings and destructions of lives and property. And you were talking about, just to conclude a little bit more, I was looking at how many people died, in 30 years of what the law war, according to, Wikipedia says, when I was looking back to, the Irish and the UK government trying to square things out. Nigerians as Yoruba people have lost 29,000 Yoruba people in 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari's, tenure. I don't have the record of how many Christians have been killed in total in Nigeria, but it seems that President Muhammadu Buhari, the former president, was a little bit lenient, in dealing square with the terrorism in Nigeria. There was more focus in target of the Christians, not just in Benue State, but in Plateau State, and as much as possible as well. We saw that as well. So Tinubu will have to be somebody that would not be as radical, according to the, Mr. Kwanko, a former Christian Association of Nigeria National Director for Legal Services and Public Affairs. Star Radio UK, I'll come back again to you in the studio as we continue to review the news headline coming out of Nigeria, being the 5th day of June 2023.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi in our North London studios. I'm actually here in the South studios, and we are bringing you updates from Nigeria. It comes your way every weekday. From 10 a.m. the broadcast starts at 11 o'clock. Yomi joins in to bring you that, and there are very other excerpts of the program that comes on as well. So make sure your dials are logged on Star Radio UK every weekday, and I tell you, you will enjoy it. Okay, now let's move on straight to another story pertaining to the president. Now some are calling him to declare his assets. Now, we know, unlike this place where, in this part of the world that we live, where data is all connected and there's a way that they can, at the press of one button, they can tell who Yomi is, what ventures that he's got, how much he's making, and everything. Everything is captured there. But when it comes to Nigeria or Africa as a whole, or developing countries, we don't have those things. So calling him to come and declare his assets, is it a requirement by the constitution, or some are just trying to use that as another reason for him to make some noise or something of the sort? What is it?
Well, before you become a president, you must tell us what you have and what you don't have, because the last thing we want to see is that after you've left the government, it seems that your bank account has increased, you've opened more extra account across the world. Let's come back again to because we're still going to be referencing back to the former president Muhammadu Buhari, that have also made us to have a bit of some of his asset. Over the weekend, Buhari have now submit asset declaration form, and guess what says his livestock have reduced. So it seems that the cow that Buhari has in Daura has reduced. But let's go straight to that as well. The former president have submitted his asset declaration form, and the Code of Conduct Bureau on Saturday have acknowledged the receipt of the form. The senior special advisor to former president of media and publicity, Garba Shehu, made his note on Saturday as he shared the acknowledged slip. And when we talk about acknowledge, this is what we say to those that are saying that, I know we're a little bit diverted slightly. When somebody says we have declared a nation, we have submitted letters, but she has not given any kind of acknowledged slip. And you wonder, how can that be possible? Let's come back to the question in hand now. Is Tinubu going to declare his asset? Because we know that Tinubu has, quite a lot of asset, as a former governor, he says he's a businessman. He hasn't tampered with any money. He never worked with the government of Buhari for 8 years. Even the wife, Remi Tinubu, told us, during the inaugural speech that they are so rich that they won't need any, government money. But we'll have to wait and see. So why is that asset declaration something that is popping up? It's because the PDP wants Tinubu to make asset declaration public. And that way that, when the time comes after 8 years or 4 years, should Tinubu leave office, we need to know what he has. The People's Democratic Party has called on Bola Tinubu, President, and Vice President Kashima Shettima to take a clue from the late President Umaru Yar'Adua by publicly declaring their asset as a demonstration of their determination to lead by example.
Well, are they going to live by example? Or is it going to be one of those things where they say something else and they do something else? What do you think? Let us hear from you. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. But we thought that maybe the security issues in Nigeria might have been resolved with the inception of a new government in place. But it seems that is not it. So we've had some kidnappings that have gone on in Sokoto. Can you tell us more about that?
Over the weekend, it's been another, bloodbath of killings and maiming and also destructions of lives and property. And we pray, for those that have been affected. 37 people were killed as the terrorists raided a village in Sokoto State. We can show you, as they were being buried. The question then is, I know Tinubu have just got in, is still under a week, because when we calculate, last week, Monday to now, so Tinubu is just settling a week. He's dealing with a lot, especially with the fuel subsidy, and he has already spoken as well. I'm going to play that clip later on. There was an attack on 3 settlements, at Tangaza local government area of Sokoto State, are said to have resulted to the death of 37 persons and the injuries of several more due to the resident alleged reluctancy. I mean, imagine the terrorists are asking them to pay levels. I know Tinubu hasn't made any changes. He met with the security, on Friday. So we are waiting to see whether he's going to carry on with what Buhari left or there will be changes. But what we can say is one of the community sources claimed that the terrorists also scattered supporters who had come to carry out a funeral rite for the deceased. Raka Dutsu and Finland Gawa are the communities that were targeted. Also, we know that in Ekiti State, someone was killed there as well, and there was another killing that took place, outside, Sokoto State as well. So Tinubu has a lot to look into the insecurity in Nigeria, but it seems that Tinubu is still dealing with the fuel subsidy that he believes that by removing it, which he didn't remove because Buhari actually removed it because the 12 subsidy is not included in the 2023 budget. But there's also information out there that subsidy was not paid for 8 years. We are still investigating that to ask, if subsidy were not paid in 8 years. The question then is, who was taking this subsidy payment? But this is what Tinubu had to say in the 30-second clip that I picked up over the weekend.
Tough decisions. Why should I be paying subsidized petrol for Cameroon, for Niger, for Benin Republic? No matter how long you protest, we are going to remove subsidy.
Well, you heard him there. So it seems that Tinubu needs as much money to deal with the insecurity, and that subsidy doesn't seem to be going back. But there's already NLC that we're going to touch on later on. But for now, there is still as many killings of innocent Nigerians over the weekend by the terrorists operating in the country. And we pray and hope that this can be at least put to a minimum, because for every life that is lost, it means a lot for humanity.
Well, listen to Star Radio UK updates from Nigeria, 11:28 the time in the North London studios. Mr. Olayomi, I'm Archie here in the South studios, and let's continue now. So has Tinubu appointed a new security chief, or is the old ones that are still there? And what do you think? Who is going to be the one that he can appoint to maybe see to some way somehow see to address this issue?
Well, not much has changed, in terms of, the appointment. We know that it's going to take Tinubu 60 days from what, his media aide, Dele Alake, that has already been appointed as a spokesperson for the president. There's also a few, individuals that have been given appointment, but no security, changes have been made so far. Or we can confirm that the President Tinubu announced the appointment of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, as the Chief of Staff (COS) in Abuja. There's also the President also appointed the former Deputy Governor of Jigawa State, Ibrahim Hassan Adija, as the Deputy Chief of Staff. Also, the President also named George Akume. George Akume is the former Governor of Benue State and the immediate past Minister of the Special Duties as the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. That is a very important role because he has a lot of subordinates. It's just similar to Anthony Blinken position. For those that might not understand, what does that mean? In a layman. So Tinubu has only appointed those four individuals. Those three individuals for now. No changes to the security chiefs yet, but we are monitoring to see what and how Tinubu will change and how those changes will bring a little bit of sanity and security-wise to so many Nigerians back home.
Well, we hope to see who he appoints to be his security chief and what they can bring onto the table as well. But Starr Radio UK, now subsidy. Let's go to the fuel subsidy. Now, they've taken this fuel subsidy. I'm looking at let me put it this way, those who are well-to-do. Let me use for lack of words use that. Now, those who are well-to-do in Nigeria, let's say they are 10%, or let's call it 20%. They are the majority of people who are struggling. So this fuel subsidy goes a long way to help them. Now you look at people who are living in various states where the whole of their salary amounts to what? Maybe 30,000, is it a month or whatever it is. Now if they take fuel or transport costs because of the rise, because the subsidy has been taken away, what is going to be left in their hands? Tell me.
Well, I listened to Tinubu, and he's already, trying to see if they can make, a minimum wage increment. That is going to be strain on as many states. Some states might be able to pay, such increments, whether it's Lagos State or Rivers State, because, we know, their capacity. But when you talk about Jigawa State, that, because you cannot put increments in one state and say no to the others as well. Yeah. It has to go simultaneously. Already, even the 30,000 naira is not being paid, as we speak right now. So as many states cannot afford it, they are still owing as many salaries as well. The question is because Nigeria do not have, the money as we speak right now. We are owing too much out there. You are quite right. If there is going to be a removal, because Tinubu says that he's not ready to be paying, subsidy for Benin Republic, Niger, Ghana. That we've known that some of these, petroleums have been traveling through the roads and in conjunction of so many of the cabals. But it is the average Nigerian that is facing the burden as we speak right now. And what happened again is because Nigerians have not even waited till the end of June. So from last week, the petrol price has gone up, even though those that are increasing the petrol price have bought it from the old price. So the question is, why not wait till the end of June to make the price reflect? But as we do know, Nigerians take advantage of everything. So since last week Monday, the cost of living have shot up, and there'll be more Nigerians that will go into the abject poverty. Even some of the, the celebrity, somebody like Tiwa Savage, was speaking, last week, and she says that, she can't wait to return back to, I don't know where she was coming from, whether US or UK, because she was already complaining that some of her vehicles are trying to get petrol. One of the cars that she's driving, the tires has gone flat. She's gone back home. There's no electricity. And you can imagine this kind of people wants to live a better life. Even they have the money, the better life is not there. but the average Nigerian doesn't have the money, and they're not guaranteed a better life as well. So Tinubu government, as we speak right now, seems to be what I was listening to the governor of Lagos State pleading with the NLC, not to go into any strike as we speak right now. But NLC, the Nigerian Labour Congress, the Nigerian Labour Congress, yes, have shown the federal government they are now meeting with the electricity workers. Electricity workers are also backing the strike. And as we speak right now, NLC fourth negotiation team in Lagos, Nasarawa, Mo State chapter joined the strike because they were actually saying that this could be the agenda of Peter Obi trying to push, Tinubu government and bring it down, by putting out a strike. But it seems that it's not been something that is going to be. The TUC also demands salary increase. Fuel importers seek equal access to forex. Nigerians do not have access to forex. If I want to travel out of Nigeria, even though what the government says is as long as I have the ticket, I have the visa, I can walk into any of my bank and ask for forex up to $3,000. But the bank says, we don't have it. Why not go to the black market and get it from there? And that literally means that the Nigerian Labour Congress yesterday have now shown a meeting called by the federal government to discuss the subsidy removal, attendant hike in the fuel pump price across the country. The union insisted that it will not hold any more dialogue with the government representatives unless a legitimate team was set up. So what that literally means that Nigeria should prepare for the long roll ahead, because when the strike goes ahead, there will be more shutdown, airport will be affected, every part of Nigeria will be affected, even the diaspora will be affected as well.
Well, we hope that Tinubu knows exactly what he's up to, because he spoke. Sonolu has said that the NLC strike will solve anything. Wrong time to protect subsidy removal. So you're telling them that it's wrong time. They want to have the maximum impact. So if they think that that is the time for them to strike, to bring the country to its knee, for you to hack into them, that's what they're going to do. But do you think they're going to back off? Because we've seen some of, especially the university lecturers union, I've forgotten their name, that
ASU.
ASU, who went on strike. I mean, Buhari for more than a year plus, they were on strike. Are we going to see something of the sort to bring the government to its knees for it to now do what their bidding is?
I think it was somewhere around 2002, not too sure, when there was a very heavy strike, and that affected my mom because she was in Nigeria as at the period of time, when that strike went ahead. And, we don't know how long it's going to last, when they say strike, they could pull it out. But since Tinubu is still saying that, we are sorry, I know it's a painful thing. He also says that he's not the only one that mentioned subsidy removal. The other government says it, even though Atiku party is saying that they will have brought in a cushion before removing the subsidy. But we are asking, where is the $800 million that the former President Muhammadu Buhari got before he left? Because the actual reason for that was to disburse that money, whether it's going to last for a month or so, while the government is finding, a fine tune. But you're right, the governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has appealed to the Nigerian Labour Congress to shelve its planned nationwide strike to protest the fuel subsidy removal, asserting that the strike will not resolve anything and the strike is a ill time. He also mentioned that Tinubu has not even spent a week already. He won't address the issue. The point should be how to ensure a sustained turnaround in our economy. And I hope he can start by reducing the amount of vehicle he travel with as a Lagos State governor.
The convoy, right?
Yes.
Bishop Adesina, good morning. He said, well, I've been very busy. Bishop, we know that you are very busy. You do diligent. You do good work. So, yes. And he says, kudos to us and kudos to you, Bishop. And thank you very, very much for your support. And every one of you have tuned in this morning to listen to us. It is Starr Radio UK. Let's go to Yomi for the rest of the story that is making the rounds. Over to you, Yomi.
At least 80 killed in a violent attack nationwide in Tinubu's first week in office is the headline. Not a very good one. The kidnap of an Anambra Catholic Reverend Father has now regained back his freedom. We pray that as many people that are still being held, in any incapacity, will get their freedom, especially Daddy Yati, that has been missing for the last 3 years. Osun State Governor Adeleke has now dissolved the 7th State Assembly. Is the new governor But like I always say, some of the governors either abuse offices or not. I was looking at the Ondo State governor. We pray for him to get better. But it seems that what I've been told that he has not left the state to the deputy. But information coming to me also said that the deputy is also somebody that is not to be trustworthy. So it seems that Nigerian politicians are very, very skeptical, because I was saying that the governor should let the deputy take over. But those indigenous that understand the grassroots politics said to me, do not advocate for that. The deputy himself, this is an allegation, is not trustworthy, and that is why the governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, that we have told from information that he has been flew to Germany for further treatment, because Ondo State do not have what it takes to look after their state governor. So the German hospital is the best for him, while the local hospital that is not well equipped is for the masses. What a very good time to be alive. Government order investigation into Tai Solarin University student is another headline as well. Make poor Abian happy. Let the rich be annoyed. Obi advised Oti. As many obedient are still hoping that there will be a final decision from the court. When that is going to happen, we don't know. But the ex-governor Peter Obi has advised the governor Alex Oti to do his best to cater for the need of the people, of the poor people in Abia, in his budgeting and planning, and urging him to let the rich be annoyed. I don't think the rich want to be annoyed, but it seems that Bola Tinubu is already making some rich people to be annoyed. It seems that Enugu governor that thought he can stop the Biafra by sitting down at home and telling Biafrans and the people in the southeast that Enugu will run on a Monday. But I can confirm that the governor will probably be in his house as well, because he will be doing sit at home. Because Enugu residents have shown the governor Umba directive on the ban on the sit at home. Again, economic and other activities are all grounded. Umba, as at Saturday, threatening to close down schools and market and motor park and businesses. If he's going to do that, that means there will be more sit at home.
Yeah,
so
2 days.
Just sit at home himself on a Monday and do more paperwork and then resume office on Tuesday, because in Enugu State and other Biafra State, they are not going out, because they are still requesting that Bola Tinubu, the new government, should look into the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So the resident of Enugu City, the Enugu State capital of Southeast Nigeria, and its environment, with the pictures that I can see here and videos that I've seen as well at Simon Ekpa, have decided to sit at home despite the state government ban on illegal sit at home. So it seems that the Biafra and the Enugu State governor will have to square things out. Because of the time constraint, we're going to go straight to the social media.
That's a quick one before you go. Because last week, Friday, when you were not in, some of the editions that were sent for us to look at was the fact that they were calling for the youth in the southeast were going to protest in Abuja. They said a date. They said I don't know whether in support of the president, and also calling for the insecurity that is going on there, and calling for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Have you heard anything about that?
Well, maybe that is still being planned. I don't know, because we know that the next case, court case for Nnamdi Kanu, I believe from what the last is going to be in September. But we know that there's still a lot of appeal. Especially even the Enugu State governor appealed to Tinubu, to look into the case of Nnamdi Kanu. But like I said, Tinubu have just settled down under a week, and it seems that the week is already becoming like almost a year, because it's dealing already with the subsidy, this insecurity. Like we said earlier, 81 Nigerians have died across the country, in under a week that Tinubu has been in office, and likewise, there's still more pressure, in terms of economic situation in Nigeria. So yes, definitely, there's a lot of, pressure, across, outside. The Biafrans, the wife of Nnamdi Kanu was celebrating the Biafra Remembrance Day, here in London, I believe in Scotland, on the 30th when they were doing their Remembrance Day. So there's a lot of, pressure still out there. But as we speak right now, Tinubu has a lot on his plate that is trying to work out every day he goes into the office. Okay. Before you continue, Bishop Adesina says, what a confused Nigeria. Report a fuel marketer saying for the past 8 years, Nigeria NNPC pay no subsidy to anybody. Where did they see the subsidies they removed? Or where did they see the subsidies they removed? It remains a question. And then it goes on, I conclude that
the subsidies clause in Nigeria government is just a trick of increasing fuel price unnecessarily, because if you have not been paying subsidies for more than 8 years, where do you say that you remove the subsidies? Over to you, Yomi, for the rest of the stories.
Well, there's a breaking news coming right now in Jos, as residents have decided to clash with the military personnel at a checkpoint, which resulted in a gunshot and burning of a military vehicle. This is just happening as we speak right now, coming all the way from Jos. It's a breaking news, and we hope situation, will be dealt with right there as well. So let's go straight, to again, it's not just one media that is picking it. I've just picked it up from another media, which we don't have to name. Is one of the mainstream media says Enugu resident defy the governor directive, continue observing sit at home. So it seems that the Biafrans are very, very determined. They know what they want, since they cannot do anything, without, checking mate with the new government and also the governor. So like I said, the governor must as well take a day off every Monday until the situation between, the federal government and the Biafra will be dealt with as well. So quite a lot. Hashtag revolution is trending. Oshiomhole is trending. That seems to be El Rufai is trending, and 25% is trending. So we're just going to go straight because of the time constraint already. Let's look at why Nigeria is trending on the social media. We know that Tinubu says he's going to, try to avoid social media, but he doesn't have to be there. All he needs to do is, his team will be monitoring whatever we are saying on the social media. But Tinubu himself do not like social media. So let's go straight to what Simon Ekpa, the Prime Minister of the Biafra government in exile says. According to Biafra update, while the Biafran Liberation Army and the Eastern Security Network are protecting the Biafra land, battling the terrorists, the Nigerian army, this is what is happening in the north down Nigeria. No security protecting the Christian, and he actually cropped, the image and the headline: over 35 killed, many injured as terrorists attack Sokoto community that we talked about earlier as well. He also went on to say, great Biafrans all over the world, our determination to exit Nigeria this year is unquestionable. No mortar can overturn this mandate. The terrorist Nigerian government imposed illegitimate stooge parading himself as the governor of our beloved Enugu state has been it seems that is there referencing back to has been completely disgraced. The Biafran people has once again demonstrated their will and readiness to exit Nigeria, and that no amount of threat shall penetrate an inch. The Biafra Republic government in exile would like to extend a very big thanks to all the Biafrans for this collective effort and demonstration of our readiness to exit Nigeria. We must continue with our efforts. So it seems that Enugu State Governor over the weekend was the Yoruba New Year as well, just as we have it, with the Chinese New Year, which is I think January mostly. But because we are Nigerians presently, we do not tend to celebrate, the Yoruba New Year. As we speak right now as well, there's what they call the Ifa festival that is going on. I've been monitoring and following that as well. And this headline says, under the Yorubaness, at Yorubaness, the Aku in Gambia at their annual Egungun festival. They are Yoruba who settled in Gambia for over 200 years. Also, 17 hours ago, Think Yoruba First, a Yoruba British rapper, Sakata, the man turned down MBE, member of the Order of the British Empire, honor, but accepted a chieftaincy of Amuludun of Odo Aje in Ondo State. Wow, it seems that somebody refused to take MBE, but went back, to take what they called our own chieftaincy. That is quite an interesting one. So we're going to take one more and then we go straight. Ifa Funsho said the only region feeding everyone in this Nigeria is Yoruba land. Major companies in Nigeria and in Yoruba land. Best university are Yoruba land. Seaport is in Yoruba land. Entertainment is in Yoruba land. And like I said, I think Burna Boy was able to sell off almost 80,000 seats in London. That has never happened before. And we say congratulations to him. So on that note, also, we would then say thank you so much to those of us that have joined us on the Starr Radio UK network this morning as we continue to monitor the breaking news and the news from Nigeria Stay tuned to the Star Radio UK. And Robert Spencer went on to say, Nigeria murdered 43 Christians, including a pastor and his wife, in a jihad attack on the Christian. And again, some of the bad roads that some of our trucks are driving through. What a shame that things have not changed, for a very long time, and this could be a disaster. So critics now say this is a road in Nigeria with the government looting billions of naira. So that is about the Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki. But before we go, another breaking news from Nigeria. Over 100 thugs have invaded a tribunal, attacked journalists, politicians, and others. And that is happening in a court where, let me get the name of the place, Ogun State Governorship Tribunal sitting.
That's in southwest of Nigeria.
Yeah, a sad one there. So I will be following it, but God willing, tomorrow, God willing, we'll bring you details of that. Yomi, before you go,
stay tuned. As we take you through some of the other part of the world. Star Radio UK continue to bring you all the news headline. I'll be back again tomorrow. Have a very great afternoon, and bye for now.
Bye. Well, listen, that has been Mr. Olayomi Koiki bringing you the updates from Nigeria from our North London studios. It is now gone 11 minutes to the top of the hour. Let's take a music break and then we continue with the show. We're going to be bringing you more from other parts of the world. We're looking at other countries in Africa and other parts of the world until 12:30 when I take you to Cyprus, where HRH Linda Pallien is going to be. So enjoy this tune. I'll be with you in a moment. The Zongo man says the problem of Africa.
The problem of Africa is the elite. Who run things. The problem of Africa is the elite. Who run things. Them all go to universities. Universities award them degrees. Big degrees. Big degrees. MSc in stealing. Bachelor of Arts, mismanagement. Masters in looting. MSc in corruption. Bachelor of Science in nepotism. MSc in forgery. Bachelor of Arts in indiscipline. MSc in embezzlement. The problem of Africa is the elite. Who run things. The problem of Africa is the elite. Who run things. Some of them went to London School of Fools, where they were awarded degrees in foolishness, PhD in stupidity, MSc in foolishness, PhD dishonesty, PhD in recklessness, Bachelor of Arts in selfishness, MSc in greed, BSc maladministration, PhD in them. PhD, pull him down. MSc, Helio Donkey. The problem of Africa is they leave. Africa. Who run things, who run things, who run things. The problem of Africa is they leave. Africa. Who run things, who run things, who run things.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Tune in to On Point here on Star Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Star Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say order, you say fire.
Okay, welcome back to the program Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time down to 4 minutes to the top of the hour, and it is the morning show. So now let's go to other parts of the world. But you know what? Before then, let me just open the lines. If you want to hop in or hop on, whichever is appropriate, you do so. Call us on 02081 332257 or 58 02081 332257 or 58. Now, US or Canada, you want to call in is 0017183032737 0017183032737. Text or WhatsApp at 075 39661744 075 39661744. Our Twitter handle is Star Radio UK and email address is info@starradiouk.com. All right then, let's take a quick break and I will be back with you. Stay tuned.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Tune in to On Point here on Star Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy. Okay, listeners, it's Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, and it is your favorite. It's now gone just 12 o'clock, and it is the Monday edition of the morning show. So now let's go on to other parts of Africa and look at some of the stories making the rounds there. Well, it seems that calm has been restored in the capital of Senegal, that's Dakar. 72 hours of that violence that took place there. And then Israel promises full investigation after incident at border with Egypt. That's one of the stories. And voters await results in Guinea-Bissau. That's one of the stories making the rounds there. So let's pick it up and let's quickly move on to that. Well, the top of the story. Now, Camas returned to the streets of Senegal's capital, Dakar, following 72 hours of violence. The clashes erupted on Thursday in the wake of the sentencing of opposition leader Ousmane Sonko to 2 years in jail. On Saturday, authorities said 500 people had been arrested since Thursday. The security forces were faced with violent demonstrators who were not seeking to express opinions but rather were engaged in subversive activities. The people apprehended during the events are mainly armed and dangerous individuals. Most of these or those arrested were in possession of Molotov cocktails, knives, and large caliber firearms, said Ibrahim Diop, Senegal's Director of Public Security. Now, supporters of Sonko and President Macky Sall have traded blame for the violence and deaths. The violence resulted in at least 16 deaths and more than 350 wounded. Sonko was not present on the at his trial and yet is to be taken into custody for his jail term, which is predicted to stoke further tensions. Now, some people are of the view that it's in line just to stop him from contesting the 2023 or 2024 elections, which President Sall is deemed to have shown interest in running after a time where we could have called it that he had served his tenure 2 terms, but he wants to still go on. I don't know whether it was because of that, but Give the dog a bad name, and surely, without a shadow of a doubt, you are able to hang it. And that seemed to be what happened there. All right, then. So moving on straight to some other stories making the rounds in Guinea-Bissau. Votes are being counted. Votes are being counted in Guinea-Bissau following Sunday's legislative election. Around 600 soldiers were deployed to ensure security during the electoral process. Now, voters are seeking to end instability after a coup attempt in February 2022 led to the dissolution of the National Assembly. There were no problems and voting took place peacefully. No arguments or fights were reported. The atmosphere was good. People came out to vote in droves. Now, everyone had their say on who would represent them for the next 4 years. In any case, everyone voted as they saw fit, said Voting Bureau member Boris Pes. Well, that's what he says, depending on where he is standing. Now, some 200 international observers were on hand to monitor the election. The president, Imbalo Madem G15 Party, and the African Party for Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde are the two largest parties. But we'll be seeing what the result is going to be, especially in this kind of elections when it takes place. You know what happens there. But I'll be telling you more about that on Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
You are listening to Starr Radio Morning Show.
Now, so on the stories making the rounds on the African continent or in the African continent, whichever is appropriate. Yes, Uganda says 54 of its AU soldiers have been killed as well. And then, before we move on from there, yes, Israel has buried on Sunday 3 soldiers killed in an exchange of fire at its usually secure border with Egypt. In his weekly cabinet meeting in Jerusalem on Saturday, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the incident will be thoroughly investigated. A day earlier, 3 Israeli soldiers were killed in a confrontation with an alleged member of the Egyptian security forces. Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister, had said in a quote, he said, "We will draw all the necessary conclusions regarding our actions along the fence on the southern border on the Israel-Egypt border. This fence was built in 2013 to stop the flood of illegal infiltrators into Israel. However, smuggling is still happening, and there are also attempts from time to time by terrorists to cross the fence and harm our forces. We will revisit the procedures, methods of operation and measures in order to minimize smuggling and ensure that such tragic attacks will not happen again." Promised Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Okay, let's move on from there. It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, we know that Ghana has gone to the IMF. The IMF has granted Ghana a bailout there. But what is happening there now is the International Monetary Fund has preferred 3 policies, including acquisitions and mergers of banks and non-banks to mitigate the possible systematic financial instability in Ghana. Now, these policies captured under the risk assessment matrix contained in the recent IMF country report on Ghana aim to mitigate risks and ensure the stability of the banking and non-bank financial institutions. The first policy suggests strengthening financial safety nets and closely monitoring the liquidity and assets quality of banks and NBFIs. The second policy involves designing an appropriate strategy to recapitalize banks and NBFIs. Now, lastly, the IMF encourages acquisitions and mergers as means to address any necessary consolidation in financial space. 1. Strengthen financial safety nets and closely monitor bank and NBFIs liquidity as well as assets quality. Now, design an adequate bank and NBFI recapitalization strategy and encourage acquisition measures if needed. So what is going to happen there? According to the IMF, countries with weak banks and non-bank financial institutions are at risk of insolvencies when they experience significant fluctuations in real interest rates, risk premium, and asset prices. Now, these fluctuations are often observed during economic slowdowns and policy changes. The IMF emphasizes that such insolvencies can have far-reaching consequences, causing disruption in markets and unfavorable effects and extend beyond national borders. Now, sharp swings in the real estate rates, risk premium, and assets repricing amid economic slowdown and policy shift trigger insolvencies in countries with weak banks or non-bank financial institutions, that's the NDFIs, now causing markets dislocation and adverse cross-border spillovers. It stress. So do you think it's something that is going to help Ghana as a whole, or is just a mitigating factor to forestall us maybe falling behind or getting into serious financial downdraws, as it said? Now, the IMF also revealed that the recent domestic debt exchange program in Ghana, which exchanged old sovereign bonds for new ones, has affected the health of the country's financial sector. Banks and other financial institutions had invested a significant amount of money in government bonds, but now the government has reduced the interest rates and extended the time they have to be paid back. As a result, the value of these bonds had decreased, now causing financial institutions to face a significant financial challenge. And this is what my colleague, Mr. Frank Davis, have been saying all the time. He says banks in Ghana, especially in Africa, especially in Ghana, are more of susu collectors. So they just take people's money and they just go and buy bonds from this thing, and then so that's what they are doing. But it's not investment, call it banking thing proper that is being done there. But well, looking at the interest rates and everything there, do you think that is something that they could do anything better from there? 10 minutes past the top of the hour, the time, Starr Radio UK, the station. MPP EC plot to insert unqualified candidates into Ascend Not Register, Sami Jemfi is alleging. The National Communications Officer of the NDC, Sami Jemfi, is alleging that the New Patriotic Party and the Electoral Commission of Ghana are planning to insert the name of an unqualified candidate into Ascend Not Voters Register. In a statement, the NDC communication officer indicated that the illegal move is to aid one Charles Opoku to contest in the MPP parliamentary primaries in selecting their candidate for the upcoming Ascend Not by-election. The National Democratic Congress has become aware of a plot by the ruling New Patriotic Party acting in cahoots with their collaborators in the Electoral Commission to transfer and insert the name of one Charles Opoku into the voters register of the Ascend Not constituency. This illegal move is to aid the said Charles Opoku to contest in the MPP parliamentary primaries to select a candidate for the upcoming Ascend Not by elections. Our unimpeachable sources have revealed that contrary to the clear requirement on the nomination form for the Ascend Not by election, which demands that a candidate in the election must be a registered voter in Ascend North, the said Charles Opoku is not a registered voter in the Ascend North constituency, Mr. Jemfi said. But is it that? Well, maybe he's now moved there. Maybe he's now moved there. But what do you think about that? More going to be coming your way. More going to be coming your way. But don't you go away. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right. But in reaction to that, the Electoral Commission has debunked claims by the National Communications Officer of the opposition NDC, Sami Jemfi, alleging that the MPP is conniving with the EC to insert the name of an unqualified MPP parliamentary candidate in the Ascend Not voters registered. The commission, in a statement, vehemently denied the allegation, stating that it has not received any such request from the MPP to transfer any person's vote. Now, according to the EC, Article 94 of the 1992 Constitution states that a person does not need to be a registered voter in a specific constituency to be eligible to contest an election there. Simply being a Ghanaian 21 years or older of sound mind and a registered voter is sufficient. But if a person wishes to contest in a constituency where they do not hail from, they must be ordinarily residents there or have resided there for at least 5 years out of the previous 10 years. So if the person has resided there, then the person qualifies. But it seems to be there's going to be a banter. Is that person opposing, or would that person pose more problems to the NDC's candidate? Or do you think we're going to see anything better than that? It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right then. Don't worry, I was going to say by-election, but that's the by-election that's going to be taking place. Now, one other story. Then we can leave Ghana. Now, events of June 4 must spur leaders to work for a brighter future. That's what former President Mahama is saying. He's called on leadership to allow the events of June 4 to inspire them to work hard for a bright future for Ghana. In a Facebook post on Sunday, June 4, 2023, the former president stated that it is regrettable that the fight for justice and accountability resulted in the loss of lives. Now, 40 years ago today, our nation was gripped by a conflagration triggered by a fight for justice and accountability. Regrettably, lives were lost. We honor the memory of all who were involved in the catastrophic events of June 4, 1979. Their sacrifices saved or paved the way for the democracy and constitutional governance we enjoy today, Mahama stated. He continued, June 4 birthed the principles of probity and accountability. The events of that uprising must spur those of us in position of leadership today to work selflessly and tirelessly towards a brighter future for Ghana and uphold the legacy of those who came before us. Let us commemorate this important day with utmost respect and gratitude. Now, if you're listening to me, you hear from that part of the world, or you are just interested in that story. What do you think about that? 40 years on. And what do we see? Interesting times. And they. Well, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, let's come to other parts of the world. Let's look at some of the stories making the rounds there this morning. Now, Russia says it has thwarted a major Ukrainian offensive. Now, Russian Defense Ministry says it has thwarted a major Ukrainian offensive in Donetsk, claiming to have killed 250 troops and destroyed 16 armored vehicles. Now, video of what Russia says is the battle appears to show military vehicles coming under heavy fire in fields. Russia's claim has not been independently verified. On Monday, Ukraine's military said it had no information about a major offensive in the region. We do not have such information and we do not comment on any kind of fake, a Ukrainian army spokesperson said. The Ukrainian counter-offensive has been long awaited, but Kyiv previously said it will not give advance warning of its start. And I think that is a better stance when you are undertaking a military operation, because you can say, you know what, I'm going to be striking your area tomorrow at 5 p.m. Tomorrow, by that time, before that time, I'll be standing waiting for you at your entrance, and I can hook you down. But well, a Ukrainian counter-offensive has been long awaited, but Kyiv previously said it will not give advance warning of its start. But with Ukraine claiming to have made marginal gains elsewhere on the front line, there has been a notable increase in military activity. The latest reports are therefore being seen as a fresh sign that the expected Ukrainian offensive may have been They have begun. The Russian Defense Ministry said Ukraine had launched a large-scale offensive in the Donetsk region on Sunday using 6 mechanized and 2 tank battalions. It claimed the Ukrainians tried to break through Russian defense in what Kyiv saw as the most vulnerable part of the front line, but it did not achieve its task. It had no success, and that is what is being said. If the footage of the armored vehicles coming under heavy fire is authentic, then it reflects the stiff resistance Ukrainian forces will face as they try to liberate more territory. And if not, what it seems is still an attempt by Moscow to take control of the narrative. There has been a significant increase in Ukrainian messaging on when and how their much anticipated counteroffensive could take shape. Ukraine has been planning a counteroffensive for months, but it has wanted as much time as possible to train troops and to receive military equipment from Western allies. Officials in Kyiv have warned against public speculation over the offensive, saying it could help the enemy. Now, plans love silence. Of course. There will be no announcement of that start, the Defense Ministry said in a video posted to Telegram on Sunday. Now, this footage featured masked and well-armed troops holding their fighters against their lips. It will take Ukraine time to achieve its goal of liberating territory taken by Russia as far back as 9 years ago. So that's some of the stories making the rounds there. It is Starr Radio UK, 19 minutes past the top of the hour. It is the Monday edition of the morning show. So wherever you are, stay tuned and don't touch the dial. Now, one other story from the world front before we move on straight on to the UK home here, and then we look at what is happening there. Now, India's railway ministry has recommended that the country's top detective agency should investigate the deadly crash that killed 275 people. Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw announced the decision but did not give more details. Railways-led investigation have already started, and preliminary reports say a signal fault led to the crash. The 3-train collision on Friday night has been described as India's worst rail incident this century. Now, more than 1,000 suffered injuries and were taken to the hospital. Some families are still searching for their loved ones. It is not clear why the railway board, the ministry top decision and making body, has recommended a separate investigation by the Central Bureau of Investigation, the CBI, when other inquiries have already started. The CBI investigates high-profile criminal cases, including serious financial fraud and murders. Now, they were thinking that there was a sabotage that might have caused this incident. So let's see. Let's keep fingers crossed and let's see what's going to happen there. It's all coming your way from the one and only Starr Radio UK, and it's your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, here in the UK, now mortgage squeeze. Let me bring you that one, quite an important one. Mortgage rates average 2 years fixed rises by £35 a month. An average 2-year fixed rate mortgage deal is £35 a month more expensive than a few weeks ago. New figures have shown the interest charge has gone up by 0.3% since recent data showing inflation not coming down as quickly as expected, financial data firm Manifacts said. The surprise led many to predict the Bank of England will raise rates higher than previously thought, from their current 4.5% to a high as 4.5%. It has prompted many lenders to raise mortgage rates and also remove deals. Now, hundreds of mortgage deals have now been pulled from the market as lenders reassesses their offers. Over the weekend, several lenders made changes to their mortgage deals, which are expected to further squeeze the budget of households and firms. On Friday, TSB reviewed all of its 10-year fixed rates deal with less than 3 hours notice in the move first reported by the Times. The bank insisted that the move was temporary and that the deals would return. Now, Santander's news business mortgage rates increased between 0.05% and 0.43% on Monday, and Coventry Building Society is hiking its 2, 3, and 5 years deals on Tuesday. According to Manufacts, the average 2-year fixed rate on a 200,000 mortgage over a 25-year term is now 5.64%. That compares with 5.34 before the latest inflation data. It comes as new data from UK Finance shows people increasingly taking out mortgages over longer terms, with a record 1 in 5 first-time buyers opting for mortgages of more than 35 years. Now, UK Finance suggested customers might be choosing this option in order to lower monthly payments and thereby improve their affordability calculations. All right then, so it's all coming away from Starr. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing you to the tail end of the first part of the program before we take you to Cyprus, where our own HRH Linda Pallien is going to be today. The most important aspect of this case, which case am I talking about? Prince Harry is taking action against Mirror Group newspapers, but will not appear at the High Court in London today. Andrew Green for MGN says it is absolutely extraordinary that he is not available for day one of his own trial. The judge, Mr. Justice Fancourt, also says he's a little surprised that Prince Harry is not in court on Monday. The Prince's lawyers, meanwhile, question why some Mirror Group reporters aren't giving evidence. The Prince Harry, along with other celebrities, accused MGN of using unlawful means to get stories, including phone hacking. The Mirror Group denies phone hacking in this case, but it has previously admitted it did take place. Now watch what happening outside the court by clicking. Okay, so I'm going to be telling you more about that as the days goes on. I'll be telling you more tomorrow, God willing. And so we're going to take a break. I bring some music, prepare ourselves for the Career 101 with the one and only Linda Pallien. Okay, but my producer says this one should take place. Now, when Sharon Lee's son David left a psychiatric unit, she said she warned staff he was too unwell to come home. 10 days later, he stabbed the man to death who was out walking his dog because of the voices in his head. Now, Sharon's demanding a public apology from Hilda Health Board for both her son and the family of the man he killed. Louis Stone saying it should have been and could have been prevented. Hilda said confidential information prevented its publishing its report. Now, Sharon raised her son David Fleet in the seaside town of Bath, Ceredigion. David loved being on the beach, she said. Now, growing up in Bath was really good for him. He was very quiet, would easily get lost in the crowd. But well, he went on to do so. Now, the mom is calling for an apology from the institution because she says, I told you so. I told you so. It is all Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's enjoy this music. Once I prepare the ground to bring you HRH Linda Pallien in the next few seconds. Stay tuned and don't you go away.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio.
Me
listening to Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 12:29, and it's now time for us to go to HRH Linda Pallien, all the way in Cyprus, to bring you Career 101. So wherever you are, don't touch the dial, and let's enjoy the conversation with her.
And how to make sure that what you're going into is profitable for you, how to negotiate a viable business.
Okay. Multiple interest classification. All right then. Let's now hear from the HRH herself. So what is, how will you define multiple interests?
So multiple interests is because we're all multi-talented people. Naturally, we have things that we think, oh my God, this would make a great career. I can do this all day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or I'm good at hockey, I'm good at tennis, and I've studied accounting, and I could do that. And you sort of have different pockets of interests that you could build, which are all good basis for building a career. And how do you choose the right one for you? Because more often than not, a lot of people fall into, well, I'll just copy what somebody else has done, or find whichever gets me a job first. But if you're categorizing it and you're making sure that actually this is the right career for you, we'll prioritize it and we'll categorize it and then apply it. And then you can be sure that you've done your due diligence before embarking on a given career.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Unleash the rest onto us.
I love that terminology, Archie. So this really, multiple interest applies to people that are considering a career change, considering going into a career in the first place. So you might be early careers and thinking of starting out, or changing. Thanks to the pandemic, you might want to start a side hustle or make your side hustle your main hustle. So how do we make sure that it's a profitable venture for you, or the right venture for you?
Okay.
So we'll start with prioritizing the interest, and then we'll go into how to apply it into your career.
Okay.
So the first thing I do, and this is a practical session, so if you're listening and you're interested, I want you to get a pen and paper ready and sort of take notes as we go, and think about your interests as well and how this applies to you. Maybe you want to sing in the choir, maybe you want to make bags, maybe you're making necklaces, whatever it is. How do you categorize it and choose the one to focus on and make a success out of it? So the first thing is to, one, list everything down, list all the interests you've got. So what could you possibly do as a career? Because if you're at the stage, sorry, I've got a plane going over my head.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
If the stage where you're looking for a career, you most likely built up a set of skills that now you want to harness into a career that pays the bills for you. So first, list all of them down. What could you possibly do? Import, export, you might have connections. List all of that down. Everything that comes into your head as an idea to do. And then if you're currently doing some of them, the second step is to write the percentage of time you currently spend on each. So we all know these super ambitious people, and hopefully you're one of them, but that have a time job and they have their side hustle on the side, and they're probably doing business deals here on the side. So I want you to write down the percentage of time you spend on it. So maybe on the weekends, I'm selling mobile phones or used clothes or whatever it is. The word "ofos" came into mind, which I have. And you go into school part-time, write the percentage of time. If your time as a whole, 7 days a week, is 100%, how much time do you spend on doing this particular activity, doing this other hobby that could be a career? Rate them in terms of how much time you spend on it. And then the third thing to do to prioritize it is have a third column. So the first column is the list of interests. The second column is the current time that you spend on it now. The third column is how much time you would like to spend on it in an ideal world. How much time you would love to spend on it. And then let's have a fourth column, and you rank each interest in terms of priority for you right now. Rank each interest in terms of priority for you right now. And I tell you, this exercise has been super helpful, especially for me when I was transitioning into my own business, but also working as well and trying to find more time to dedicate into building a business on the side. So again, if this is you, it would be really helpful to see how much time are you spending. And you might realize, I'm not spending enough time on this at all, and I want to go into this. And then you will rearrange your time to spend more time on it. Or I'm spending too much time at work, and it's not on the fourth column, it's not my priority right now. So then you might reduce your hours so you can spend much more time on this other interest that you're working on. So those are the 4 steps to prioritize these interests that you have that could become a career for you. So we'll go over that again. Write down the list of interests in one column. The second column, write down how much time you currently spend on it in terms of percentage. The third column, how much time you ideally like to spend on it in terms of percentage. And then the fourth column is how much of a priority is it for you right now. And remember, all of these are priorities for you, which is why they're here. So we just need to look at this point in time, given the resources you have, given the responsibilities you have, make it super realistic for you as possible. You might want to be to start training as a pilot. If you don't have the resources right now, then it's not too much of a priority for you right now. Or if it is, then we've got to look at a way to afford that to start the training there. So those are the 4 steps to prioritizing the interests. And then once we've done that, I want you to take each interest and let's look at one. Let's look at the highest priority for you right now. And let's say, for example, it's developing yourself into a musician. You've identified that rather than doing all the property investment you're doing, or rather than working part-time with your dad, you would rather look into music and developing your music. So then let's look at how we can apply that to make sure that it's going to be a profitable venture for you. Because some things are great ideas to have. I think I've used the example on the show that you can do, I don't know, football underwater. If there's no interest, then no one's going to pay you money to teach them how to play football whilst diving. So that won't be a viable business to go into. So now we'll look at how to apply these interests. So this is the step 2. We've done prioritizing it. We're applying it. Step 2. So from the top interests you've identified, I want you to see possible combinations. Where can you combine it to make a niche for you? So maybe you can be a singing real estate person. And perhaps when you're showing people houses, you have a live band there and put on a show for them. That would make it different. Who would want to house with you? So we're really looking at combinations that will create your unique niche for you. So out of the interests you've identified, let's look at the top 5. Let's see which combinations you can have. And then once you've had the combination, circle the one that you think is most feasible to start with for you right now. And let's pick that one. So that's step 2. We've looked at the prioritized list. We're looking at niches and combining the interests to see if we can create a unique niche. And now step 3, we want to check in what I call a VRIM framework. whether it's valuable, rare, likely to be imitated, or substituted by another product. This VRIN framework is to check the viability of your idea before you even start or invest a lot of money and time in it. You want to see whether it's viable for you to do this and whether it's going to generate the income that you want. So we'll take the interest and then we'll rank it in terms of V. So VRIN is VRIN. And V stands for value. Is the niche truly unique and does it offer value? And if you can answer yes or no to that, then you can tick that box. If it's valuable, then it will work. If it's not valuable, then we need to start again and pick another niche. The second letter is R. Is it rare? How common is it on the market to have a singing real estate person? Is it rare? Is it truly unique to you, or are you just reinventing the wheel, in which case people will say, actually, this isn't necessary and therefore we don't need it. So how rare is it? So V is valuable, R is rare, I is inimitable, which is it, are you able to copy that easily? Are you likely to imitate it? So I is imitatable, if you like. So can it be easily copied by China, your friend? Can they make this thing so easily that they'll put you out of business in the long run? A lot of people, and what I've seen recently coaching entrepreneurs, is that they say, oh, you know, we're coming up with this platform where it's unique like Etsy and everything is handmade, and most people are looking for a unique piece. That may be well and good, but people are shopping at Amazon and the big chains for a reason. You know, they have the supply chain to deliver it at a cheaper level. So you really have to establish what is unique about that business idea, whether it's imitatable or not. What if Amazon decided to do it? Or what if Tesco decided to do Tesco's own your product? How quickly, how feasible is it to compete with them? So taking that into account. And the N is non-substitutable. Non-substitutable. Are there other alternatives in the markets for them? And if so, are they comparable to what you're offering or what you're proposing to offer? And this really can be used to evaluate, this framework can be used to evaluate a new opportunity as well as your existing opportunity. If you're a business owner right now, or you currently have a side hustle, looking at the VRIN framework and going, well, how can I improve this? Maybe it's valuable, it's rare, but it's not, but it's likely, it's very easy to imitate and or substitute. Then maybe you can look at tweaking those imitating and substitutable factors so that you can create a truly unique product. A lot of people think, oh, it's good, and you buy a bulk thing from Alibaba and rebrand it, and the branding is your unique selling point. But if there's so many of that product in the market, maybe it's tweaking your marketing to make it appear unique, inimitable, and non-substitutable, and that could work easily. So I've given you a lot to think about today. I'm just going to quickly summarize it, if that's okay.
Yes, that is okay. Listeners, you are listening to HRH Linda Pallien on Career 101, where today she's looking at multiple interest classification. Yes, she's giving you lots of pointers there, priorities with the VRIN, the VRIN. She's giving you lots of it. But you know what I'm going to do for you? This program or this discussion is going to be on the podcast as soon as we are done, maybe in the next 5 minutes, once we are done, it will be up there. But if you really want to go back to the broadcast and re-listen or view it, go back there, Facebook, on Twitter, on Periscope, and all the platforms that we are broadcasting on, and it will do you a great good. Let me say good afternoon to Gloria Amukwando. Thank you very much for joining us. Over to you, Linda.
Right, so we've been looking at classifying your multiple interests and how to choose a profitable niche to go into. So we've looked at how to prioritize in terms of how much time you currently spend on it, how much time you want to spend on it, and also how much of a priority it is for you right now. So that was the first stage of classifying your interests. The second stage was looking to find a niche, a unique niche for you. So we looked at the interests that we've classified, and then we looked at how to combine them to form a unique niche. So for example, we use the example of if you're a musician and a real estate person, but if you're an accountant that happens to be able to do sales or marketing, that you can add to a company or your service, then definitely that would be fantastic. A fantastic offering to have to your clients. So how can you create your own niche? And then finally we looked at how to benchmark this interest that you've identified, this potential business opportunity, against the VRIN classification to see and evaluate if your business idea is feasible and going to be profitable long term. So we said VRIN, which was valuable, rare, imitable, or non-substitutable. So inimitable or non-substitutable. So is it valuable? Is it rare? How easy is it to imitate? And how easy is it to have a substitute to that item? And when you've done that and you've ticked it, then you've covered your bases, you've done your due diligence, and then you can confidently go ahead and invest in this, or invest your time, invest your money, invest your resources into making this business idea a reality for you.
Okay, listeners, Starr Radio UK. Now, let me ask you one quick question before we put all the contact details and how people can get in touch with you. Now, assuming somebody's is multi-talented. I would say that it is. I don't think there is anyone on this planet who can say that. As for me, I've got only one. Everybody's got a bit of something extra in there. Now, but you see that the various talents or gifting, the interests are pulled apart. They are not directly connected. Maybe I like to be on the air. Producing a program, but then maybe my other interest. Let me say maybe playing football or something. There's no proper connection there. How do people connect that one? Because if you want to prioritize, then that one will automatically just go out of the window. How do they do that?
Well, you can. So this is a great question, and one that really interests me greatly. It's finding a unique niche for people. So I love that you use that example of playing football and maybe broadcasting. Could you combine that to broadcast about football, or play football and then make a commentary about it? And actually, that could be a niche for you where maybe you're critiquing football and not just your games as well, but other people's games. And because you're talented at both areas and you have a genuine interest in both areas, you're the best person to do it rather than somebody who is just good at broadcasting but has no interest in football. So that's something that you can combine. Or actually, what is it about the football? And I addressed this a little bit in my TEDx talk. What is it about the football that you love? Is it the activity of being outdoors? Is it working as part of a team? Is it the health and wellness aspect of it? If you dig deeper into each interest to find exactly what it is about the interest that you like, and that then becomes your underlying talent, which you can link. So if it's communicating with people, with football, you're working with a team and you're working as part of a team. In the studio, you'll be working with your producer and the listeners, working as part of of a team. So then you can link those talents together and go, well, actually, if I was going to look for a job, or if I was going to specialize in something, it would have to be part of a team, working with people, maybe doing something that is probably health related or football specific.
Okay, listeners, I hope that you heard that response, and if that doesn't convince you or direct you, then I don't know what kind of planet that you find yourself on, because I told you I've got the one to deliver, and that is HRH Linda Pallien for you. So she's going to put her contact details across, and then if you have any challenge in any area pertaining to your career, maybe even you've not been able to write your CV. I mean, you are now up and coming, you just thinking of completing uni or whatever. You're not sure which way or which path to chart. Now, make sure you get in touch with her. She's got books that she's written on various issues pertaining to your career, and she's going to put all those information across, and I want you to listen to her because it will help you greatly. Linda, I think I've lost your picture there, but okay, your image. So go on, I can hear you. Over to you.
Oh wait, I think you definitely have lost me. Yes, so I'm back. Can you see me now?
Not yet. You go on. Let me see whether I can work on that.
Okay. Definitely, if you're looking to spruce up your CV, to shape up your career, or to figure out how to carve a long-lasting and profitable career for you, definitely get in touch. You can contact me via my website, lindapallien.com or mycheerlinda.com. And certainly we can look at working at this together. As Archie said, I have a couple of books, and actually I've been working from one of these books today, which is the career workbook. If you can see it, and in the workbook, it shows you how to prioritize your interests. It has the list of activities that this book you can take to an interview, to a meeting, and it's everything you need to answer to build a profitable career for you, as well as Career Success, which is a textbook. And I call it a textbook because it's more of a textbook. It's a big book, but it shows you everything to do with your career in terms of networking, social media, branding yourself, creating your profile, your CV as well. Honestly, this has more advice about CV than you would ever get from a single page online, and building a career that suits you. So definitely the Career Success book is one to get as well. These are all available on Amazon, Amazon.com, Amazon.uk, EU, and wherever you are, your local Amazon, as well as the original How to Career Guide as well. That's going to help you with picking the right career for you. So I'm on social media, Linda Pallien, on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and also at My Cheer Linda. Definitely reach out to me with your career questions. Let me know how your career is going. If you found this multiple interesting and you've done this exercise, I would love a screenshot of what you've done, what the notes you took, and just engage with me. I'd love to hear from you.
Okay. Lady, let me say thank you very much for this wonderful time with you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Yeah. Regards to Mr. Pallien.
Will do.
Okay. Right. Okay, so let me say thank you very much to each and every one of you for tuning in today. I hope that you've enjoyed that interaction or that program, that set of the program by HRH Linda Pallien, and that is Career 101. It comes your way every Monday from exactly 12:30. All right then. So this is where we bring the program to a close for today, as we take the bow and make sure that tomorrow, God willing, we come back and enjoy another time with you. I want to say a massive, as they will say in Ghana, gigantua. Thank you for joining in. Yes, checking in for any updates. But there are no updates there, so we can move on straight to bring the program to a close. But I promise you, God willing, tomorrow morning we'll be back on air. From 10 o'clock, we'll start picking the feed. I mean, those of you who like joining us on our apps, yes, we bring you feed from the BBC. And then when the program starts at 10 o'clock, we bring you a feed from here as well, from the studios, from Sky. And then the studios join in from 10:30, where we bring you all the story that you need to know. And of course, updates from Nigeria, plus, call it. All right, then. So on that note, I'll say it once again, loud and clear. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Have a wonderful day. And we'll see you all tomorrow. It's been me, your one and only Archie, saying bye-bye for now. Enjoy this tune from Stephen Marley. And he says, Babylon System.
And welcome to the 75th celebration of the King. Sing Bob Marley. Love. 1, 2, 3.
The best radio show. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening.
We refuse to be what you wanted us to be. We are what we are.
Sit back, relax. Turn it on. Turn it up.
Broadcasting live online.
For no equal opportunity.